Welcome to another quick review from Ultimate DIY. Today we're going to take a look at a security flood light made by Sinuton. All right, guys, so what makes this light special? Well, there are several things that make this light special. First of all, it is going to be new technology. This is going to use an LED system. It does not use the old bulbs, which are super energy inefficient, and you're always having to maintain those. They blow out, they have problems. You have to go up on a ladder, open this thing up, and put a new bulb in. That is if it was old technology. But this one with LED, you don't have to deal with that. You're never replacing bulbs. It's super energy efficient. As a matter of fact, this one has 3 different settings, and on those 3 settings, it's going to range from 60 watts up to 120 watts. In other words, you're going to get a ton of light to light up a backyard. And by the way, this can be residential, commercial, or industrial. So wherever you're lighting up, you're going to get a ton of light with this at the most the cost of an old 120 watt bulb. So that in itself is truly amazing. This is an all aluminum cast body, which makes it light but yet durable. And it has the polycarbonate top on the front. So this is going to last a very, very long time. Now, on top of all of that, it is also going to be IP65 rated, which means that dust, dirt, grime, water is not really going to affect this. It's meant to be out in the elements. I told you this has a Dusk-to-Dawn sensor on it. You can also still wire this into a switch if you want to control the lights with a switch as well, or you can just have it directly wired and that sensor takes over. So there's multiple ways to actually install it, multiple ways to use it. Now, one of the things that makes this very versatile is the technology inside of it allows this to actually work with voltages all the way from 100 volts up to 277 volts. And that's why I said it works great for residential, works great for commercial, and it even works in industrial. So no matter what the voltage is, this one unit will actually work, and you do not have to buy a special unit to get it to work. So what I'm going to do is kind of bring you in a little closer. We're going to open this thing up. We're going to set up the wall, and you're going to get to see how this thing is installed. So let's do that. All right, guys, I've got the temporary wall up. Now this wall, I've got it turned on the side right now. So I was able to turn my actual box so that my bolt places are going to line up. And I'll show you how you figure that out in this in just a second. But I just wanted you to understand what's going on. This is actually for setting a ceiling type light fixture. There's my switch. Now we are not going to use the switch because we're going to do the Dusk-to-Dawn. Now before you do anything, you're going to want to check your wiring and make sure that your power is off. I like the no contact type sensors. I can tell that I am totally dead, even though I know I'm dead because I plugged this unit in separately. But always, always check. When I was reading the description of this, I misunderstood how this is working. This system actually has a setting switch in here that you're going to switch between those different wattages, and it'll still do that on each color. So I can actually have this 120 watts, but I can have it on the warm white, natural white, and the daylight. So it's separate. I thought it was all in one and just one little quick switch. It's actually 2 switches. So you're going to have a cover just like this right here. You're going to take it off with a screwdriver, a Phillips to be exact, like this one. And you're going to see you have 3 switches. One of them is going to be in the far right, which is the switch that I was just talking about. So I can set this where it's going to be 60 watts. It's going to be the 100 watts or the 120. And I can also, the next switch over is where I will set my temperatures, my 3000, 4000, and 5000, which are going to be obviously warm light, natural light, and daylight. And then on the far left here, and I'm going to bring this in close so that you can kind of get a quick glimpse, but the far left is going to be your on-off switch for the actual sensor itself. So if you don't want to use the sensor, you can turn it off and go straight or strictly to a switch. So hopefully you were able to see a little bit of that. All right, so now what we need to do, I will tell you the next thing I ended up doing is I knew where my holes were going to be, and so I drilled out the little punch holes. Now you can try to punch those out. I don't like hitting on something like this, so I used a drill. I would suggest you do the same. Now let's put this back on before I forget. So it's simply just going to go into place just like that right there, and you are going to tighten it down. And that keeps moisture and everything out. Now, looking at the unit, I have 3 little locations, and you're just going to remove those screws. This is going to fold down. So now to remove those, though, you have a couple of choices. You can use a Phillips screwdriver like this, or you can use a screw gun. Now, if you're using a screw gun and you're not familiar with how to use it, be very careful that you don't strip anything out. But all you're going to do is back those. There we go. And that one's actually turned a little. You could hear it clicking. You don't want to make that noise. You want to be careful. That one was very easy. Yeah, that one was pretty easy as well. All right, so now that I have it loose at the top, all you're going to do is fold it down just like this, and this piece will just come off. You can set it aside. Just be careful that if you set it on the ground, you do not step on it. That would be a bad day for you. And you just set it right there. Now, if you look at this, it has a shield that shields all the internal components, but it also reflects that light from the LED panel. Now, your LED panel on this is right here at the top, and there are a bunch of them. Now, let's see what we got here. You're basically going to have 3 wires. Your green is going to be your earth ground, which will be your totally stripped out ground. And I don't have it ran through here right now because this is a temporary setup, but you would have generally an earth ground coming through here. And that's what you're going to tie that green to. The other that you're going to have is going to be white, which is your neutral. It's going to tie to white. And your black is going to be hot. You're going to tie to the hot. Now, this is very important to get those right, and do not reverse them because these are an LED system. They're very sensitive to the power reversal, and if you do that, you're liable to have an issue. So we've got that. Now, one of the other things I want to point out that is really cool here, you can see the others that you could drill out depending on your situation if you did not line up. But I like this little level they've got here. So I can put this in, attach it, get this totally level with the little level, and then I can go the rest of the way and put the cover back on, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So now before you mount it up there, the next thing you do is you turn it over, and you have another plug here. We need to remove this plug, just like that. So our wires can go through the plug and inside to be wired. Now, if I was mounting this permanent, I would actually use this piece right here. You're going to knock the little center out, put this on, and this is your weather tight deal. It keeps moisture and everything from getting behind here. Now, I'm not going to install this right now because I will ultimately install this outside somewhere. Now, they do give you wire nuts already, and they do give you some new hardware to be able to attach. And I do like the fact these are fairly long. Sometimes I see these, they're very short and you don't quite make it. And if you don't have a ready supply of these like I do and keep it on my truck, it means you're going to be running to the hardware store to get some more of these. So I like the fact they're giving you long ones. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, we're going to feed these through. Just like that, right there. And then you're just simply going to take the screw and line it up with the hole. just like that. And a lot of times, to make sure I don't strip those, I will use the screwdriver, especially to get it going good. All right, guys, so for just the demonstration, I'm just going to put one of them in. There's no need in putting them both, but all you would do is repeat the process and put the bottom one in. I'm just going to leave it like that just so that we can actually see it. Now, we have our wires here. All you're going to do is wire them. I generally will wire in reverse, starting with earth ground, going to neutral, and then my hot. So you just simply take a cap, since we're not going to use the earth ground right now. Now, I would highly recommend using the earth ground, obviously, if you're putting this in permanent. And get it in there, twist it good, turn it till it turns a little bit and twist, you're good to go. And now we take our black, our hot, and put it right here. So that's all we really need to do. And just in case you're wondering if you've got this facing the right direction, guys, you'll have an up here. Make sure that that up is at the top. It tells you the correct orientation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just put a cap on this one, even though it's not a big deal, but just make sure it doesn't touch anything that it's not supposed to. Now, this simply is just going to come from behind, and it just clips in just like that. You're going to turn it up, and you put your bolts back in. Now, I did find on this that you have to kind of push it to get them to line up. You do not want this to be crooked. So we're going to do just like that. And we mount. And now we are actually ready to rock and roll. So what I'm going to do is plug it in. We're going to see what it does with the lights on. Then we'll shut all the lights off and we'll see how it works. So let's do that. And it is very, very bright. So obviously when you power it on, it is going to come on automatically. All right, guys, I let it run for a while. Finally, it shuts off. So it'll actually turn itself on when you first turn on power, and it'll be on for a while until it senses that the sun is up or whatever. Then it'll shut itself off. So it has shut itself off. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go ahead, take some electrical tape, and we are going to apply some over the sensor and see if we can get it to come on. All right, guys, I still have power to it, but it has timed out and it has gone off now. It has sensed that there is light, so it has shut itself off. So when you first power it on, it's going to have a few minutes that it's going to run with the power on, and then it should shut itself off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some black electrical tape, and the sensor is over here on the right. We're going to go ahead and go over that sensor with some tape and see if we can make it appear that it is nighttime and see if it kicks itself back on. Now, I did find that yes, that little switch needs to be in the on position, not the off. The on meaning that the sensor is on. So I'm learning just like you guys are, putting this together, figuring out what's going on. Hopefully this will save you a little time. So let's cover the sensor and see if we can get this to come on. There's one, might have to do, there it is. So all we needed was one little piece to get it to actually work, and bam, there it is. So perfect. So there you go, guys. Pretty simple to install a light like this. Just be sure you look for LED when you put it up. Now, I had to figure out a couple of things on this on the fly. I did not really spend a ton of time reading the instructions, which I probably should have. Would have made it a little easier for me. But if you follow the video, it's going to be a breeze for you because you already know what to do. Now, there's a couple of things I need to point out when you're installing a light like this, especially if you're a DIYer and you've never done this before. When you get this up there, yes, this little piece behind there is going to help control and stop some of the moisture that could get inside that box. But if you have a driving rain and it is hitting this, it's going to be running back there like crazy. So what you're going to want to do is get a caulk gun and run a bead all along this, across the top and down the sides, so that silicone can actually stop the water penetration from getting back there at all. Now, you notice I said the top and the sides. Do not silicone the bottom. The bottom is your weeping area. If water does happen to get in there, you want to allow it to get out. It's the same principle when you put up siding. You never silicone or seal the bottom of the siding. You only seal the sides or anything that's on top. So if water does get behind your wall, it has a way to escape. This is the same principle. Now, one other thing, on the bottom of the actual piece here, you're going to see a couple of little black plugs if you get this unit. And you'll want to remove those plugs because that works under the same principle. If water or moisture builds up inside of here, it allows it to actually weep away from the unit. So be sure you pull those out. So if you are wanting to pick up this particular model, or even a 6-pack or a 12-pack of this model, like I mentioned earlier, I will have the links down in the description so you can go right to it. And by the way, if you're not interested in this particular model from this company, they have quite a few other lights as well. They are a very good company, and it is an Amazon link, so you'll be able to hit it and go straight to Amazon. So if you're not a subscriber, be sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know about all the upcoming videos as I release them, and leave me a comment because all of that helps the channel greatly. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next one.